Hello everybody, today I'm bringing you a layout from a photo walk I did, and really it's a photo of the two friends that I was with on the photo walk. I'm going to use pretty much simple stories here. That's pretty much what I'm going to use. And right now I'm going to cut this diagonal stripe paper to use as a border on my layout, and you're actually seeing me cut. Most of the time you don't, because I use a Caterpillar Pro trimmer, and that sits off to the right of my desk, but it doesn't cut paper, so I need to use I now keep this little Fiskars trimmer in here for gutting paper because I got a ton of paper. And I'm not as concerned about straight edges on the inside. This trimmer is not completely straight anymore, but not that big of a deal. I can straighten up the edges if I need to with my Caterpillar trimmer. All right, and I loved this heart paper. Oh, and the diagonal stripe paper is from Simple Stories, the Faith collection, and it's the Grace paper. I absolutely loved this heart paper and wanted to feature it in a big way on a layout. So this will be the background that everything else sits on. That heart paper is from Simple Stories Faith. It's the love paper. So when I do this, I usually put just a little bit of adhesive on one side so I can get it down straight. And then I go through and I'll glue down the other three sides. Otherwise, it's really easy when you're doing this to sort of crumple the other sides if you put the adhesive on the sides or the bottom. I used to do that, and I found just by putting it on one side, it's much easier to get it all straight and then to straighten it to put your adhesive on. So I'm using this cut apart here. It's from Simple Stories Domestic Bliss, and it's the 4x6 vertical elements. And I have that card that says Love This Life. So I cut that apart, and I'm going to surround my two photos with that. One is basically a 4x6 and the other one is something near that but not quite. And my friends Abby and Kathy took the pictures, obviously, because I'm in the pictures with both of them. So they shared those with me. I'm going to put these photos and that 4x6 card on this polka dot paper from Echo Park. It's the Dots and Stripes strawberry paper. And I'm going to break out of the grid here just a little bit with that bottom photo so that it's not all housed completely within that square. And the reason I did that is because otherwise it would be like square and square and square, and I just didn't want that for this particular layout. I wanted something to be just a little bit different or off. So that bottom photo is going to sit slightly on top of the other photo and the journaling card, and then it will hang in just a little bit off of the bottom of that square there, the polka dot square. All right, so I have my main photo clusters down already. And then I realized, oh yeah, that's right, I haven't glued down the rest of this. So I need to come in and do that. And then I'll just get that glued down. So much easier. My paper tends not to buckle. I'll do it every so often, but not quite as bad as when I do it the other way. And I think I had a little bit of a problem there with it buckling, even though I took precautions not to do that. This one was being a little bit sassy that day that I created this a couple days ago. All right, so now I have the main elements down, and I just need to decide what to do. Now I have a fairly large open area there that I had intended to somehow use for my journaling. So I'm trying to figure that out. And I took some die cuts there from the Simple Stories Carpe Diem Posh bits and pieces, and that's where the tag and the camera here come from. And I'm just playing around with a few different things just to see what I can find. That globe is from the same bits and pieces. And now I decide I want to bring a little bit of a different color in here, so I find this tab, which is from the bits and pieces as well. And then I go to my Simple Stories Carpe Diem Posh stickers here, and that's It's from the Planner Basic stickers, and that's where that little remember sticker is going to come from. And I will journal on that. I didn't have my wax paper here, so I decided just to sort of stick that on the side because I knew I wanted it to happen in here somewhere, that I wanted that remember sticker to be put down in this little cluster that I'm working on right now. And then I'm putting that tab down up there just because I know that I want that up there, and I'm going to decide how far down I want this block, this pink block to be mounted. And I need to know what that tab looks like up there to do that. Although I'm still playing around with other clusters here, trying to decide. And I'll cut that in half so that I can use the other half, since I'm putting it on a flat part of the layout versus the top. If I put it on the top, then a lot of times I'll use both sides. If I'm not, then I cut it in half usually. And this is kind of cool because those planner stickers, or all these die cuts, have silver on them. So it's a little bit different than the gold that we typically use. And I thought that was interesting, something a little bit different. Now I'm looking again at my stickers from Carpe Diem. In this case, it's the designer stickers. So I have that little ampersand that I just grabbed, and this is getting really low here, so sorry you may not see this, but that camera is also from those designer stickers. And now I kind of have an idea where I want everything mounted, so I'm going to glue down my square, my pink square here, where everything is basically mounted on. I'll do this a lot of times. If I'm not sure, I'll actually create the inner part of the layout or the top part of the layout, for lack of a better way to describe it. And then I'll glue it down once I kind of decide on heights. I'll do that a lot of times too if I'm doing titles and I'm not quite sure where those are going to land, you know, how it will land on there. And I am too far down here, and I don't think you're going to see me do this cluster, so I apologize for that. There is a good picture of it in the still shots. So what I'm going to do is, I was thinking about putting that camera on the top, but it was too weighty. So I'm going to end up putting that at the sort of side bottom of the globe. And then I'm going to add this brad. There we go. Now I'm going to do it for you. So I put that brad from the Simple Stories Posh Adhesive brads. I'm putting that on the top. And I wanted that camera there because it's bringing a horizontal element into that cluster where I have a lot of vertical elements at the moment. I was thinking about adding something else up in that cluster there, and I found that little pink flower from the Bits and Pieces, but I'm going to decide not to do it. Now, I looked at this chipboard sheet. This is from Bella Boulevard from the Chow Chip Symbols, and I had a few pieces on here, and I decided I would use this ampersand here just to put a little bit of something up on this 4x6 vertical element up here, because it was looking very flat with all the other pieces there. There's, you know, raised pieces and those kinds of things. It was just a big space of flat. So I'm going to add that, and then I found a little heart there from the Bits and Pieces, from the Posh Bits and Pieces there. So I'll add that in. That ampersand came from that pile of goodies that I have sitting to my left that I want to get used up. I think I might have one or two other pieces left in that, and then that will be done. Thinking again about maybe adding another brad here, but that just didn't feel right. So now I'm going to go back through those designer stickers from Posh and see what else I might be able to find here that would work on the layout. I'm looking at these symbols or these words and arrows, and I find this silver arrow just to get a little bit more definition to that cluster. It gives that tag something to sit on, if that makes sense. Kind of felt like that cluster was hanging out there a little bit without a shelf, and that helps that feeling a little bit for me. All right, now I want another sort of texture on this, so I'm going to go to my enamel dots next. And I have them in a little 31 bag there. That's quite a few years old, that pattern, but I like this little square bag. I'm going to add the aqua enamel dots from Doodlebug, which are on the left there. That's the swimming pool color. And then these enamel dots that I'm adding in the pinks and the navies are from the Posh collection, the Posh enamel dots there. And this is going to take me a little bit to get these all figured out and added. Sometimes those little last pieces are some of the hardest. I'm not quite sure why that is, but it is. Or it can be. So these are two really close friends. The friend up there in the top photo with me, I have known her since first grade. So we have, let's see, let me think about this. We have 48 years of friendship, or 47 years of friendship. I guess it's 47 years of friendship together, which is pretty awesome when you think about that we're still very close friends. And then the friend on the bottom is somebody that I met through her, actually, when we were all in, or when they were involved in a lane aim and layout a day. I didn't join, I think, them till the following year, but that's how they met. They happened to live in the same city and didn't even realize that they didn't know each other at all. And Lane sort of introduced them, and then I was introduced to her, and we scrapbooked together. On occasion, we haven't done it in a little while, but we're trying to get her back into it. She's been really busy because she's a professional photographer now. And she led this worldwide photo walk. They do it every year on the first Saturday in October. So take a look and see if there's anything in your town or a town near you that's a bigger town, which I have to drive about an hour to get to one, but no big deal. I love it. And then, so my friend in the photo there actually led the photo walk we were on this year. So that was really, really fun. I'd like that that you can have those common hobbies. Besides being scrapbookers, we all love to take photographs as well. And she's an amazing photographer. Very cool. All right, so I think I have all of my enamel dots on there and explain that. And by the way, that photo walk is sponsored by Scott Kelby, who's a really famous photographer. It's Kelby. Just look up Worldwide Photo Walk. And then I'm not sure if you can get on a list already, but eventually you'll be able to. And if you do it every year, then they email you when the photo walk starts so that you can find one. I'm almost all done with my journaling, so there'll be a still shot and a couple of detail shots. Hope you are all well. Take care, and I will be back with another layout again soon. Bye!